have anything in front of.
Okay. So the planning commission is meeting today because we are called upon to approve subdivision of parcels within a radius of the city limit, and to concur that this is kind of in the line of the planning commission's how the city wants to grow. Does that make sense? We are not approving the plan per se. We're not approving the building layouts or anything like that. We're just looking at the subdivision of the parcel and the idea that's being presented. Does everybody get that, understand that? So on the slide that Mary just had up.
Great. Want me to put it back up?
Yes, please.
Okay.
There is a 10-acre parcel on Highway 47 outlined in green on the map.
Right.
And that 10 acres is being cut down to 7.49 acres, more or less. And the good gentleman, Mitchell Davenport, who's visiting us via Zoom, is proposing to build an apartment complex there of 48 units. This is Mitchell, is this one in Elba?
That's in Albany, Georgia. That
Albany.
Okay. Just completed.
Right. So this is the same apartment kind of complex that is out towards Atmore when you're driving into Atmore on the left side. If y'all have seen those apartments.
Right. Gotcha.
Yep. It's the same plan. And y'all did that, correct?
I did not, but I believe if we're talking about the same one, some good friends of mine did, and the same architect.
Okay. So it's very similar in its presentation, the way it looks as to what will be built here.
Yes.
So the floor is open for discussion.
Jay Harper's contacted me, which I kind of suspected that he would. He's going to need help figuring fire flow on this. So whenever you can give me some dimensions on these building sizes, square footage and stuff, so I can help him with that.
No
and
problem.
Also, is this retirement, government subsidized, or anything like that?
It is. It's designed for family occupancy. It's not senior or housing for older persons. It is tax credit, so it's not Section 8. It's not rent subsidized, if you will. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the tax credit program.
Right.
Mockingbird Point is tax.
I'm sorry?
We have two complexes. Mockingbird.
Say it to the computer.
Yes, Mockingbird Point, and actually this is designed by the same architect, Jerry Braden, who developed Mockingbird Point. I've known for probably 20 years, but it's the same, very similar. He's kind of cornered the market on the seniors development. In talking to some of the economic development people in town, I know you actually have an economic development group that's been actually active and really trying to pursue opportunities, and housing is been a challenge. So we've decided to go after a family development to help provide housing to provide housing opportunities to help further that. I look at housing as part of an economic development package. If you're going to grow businesses, you got to have places for people to live. It's my understanding that somebody that comes to town, wants to take a job, often ends up having to live in Atmore or some of the other surrounding communities, just because the housing market here is tight. And given the area median income here, tax credit rents really equate to market rents in this community. It's just a fact of rural Alabama that we see time and time again. I've done developments across from tip to tip, Alabama and Georgia. Probably the closest one, I did a rehab in Bruton, Alabama, and it's a very similar situation. But my market analyst has been working hard, and 48 units seems to be about the right size for it to have a reasonable amount of absorption and not be too overbuilt for the community. I don't know if you can see, but the writing's kind of small on these small sheets, but there's 8 one-bedroom units, 32 two-bedroom units, and 8 three-bedroom units. So, but the feedback I've gotten from the market analysts is this is a good mix and a good size for the community. And we're still working with the rent schedule, but with it, we're going to be able to be competitive here in the market.
Do you have any plans to try to annex into the city?
That's something I would like to do. It's actually ultimately, and in this case, it tends to be easier after I built, because I'm in your planning jurisdiction, I've got to build to your standards, to city standards, and fire and planning and all the other things. When I get down to it, I might as well go ahead and annex. If a budget now for the additional property tax, it's really not an issue. And what I save in insurance with the fire rating, with a lower fire rating, it's worth it for me.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. I think Mexie's class 5, maybe there, and we're class 3. So any difference would be made up in insurance. So
yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer for me. And obviously, fire seems to be something that you're pretty well versed in. As far as fire safety, obviously, it's going to be fully equipped with hydrants. Buildings will be sprinkled. I don't know if Monroeville requires the fire department, the connections to be on the buildings or remote. Either way, as when we get through planning, doesn't matter to me. We'll do it anyway. The site plan that you see, this is kind of a preliminary, but the gentleman at McKean Associates that does this really does put a lot of thought into it. Very rarely do I see, when we get to construction of actual engineering design, do the buildings really move very far. He does a really good job. He's made sure that turn radiuses at the T here are ample enough for fire trucks, and that there's sufficient access to the buildings to make sure that all the fire safety and accessibility, ADA, and fair housing can all be met with nominal issues.
Yeah, the only issue that I see right off the bat, and we'd have to do some measuring, but once you exceed so far into a dead end area, which essentially is what you have off of Highway 47, you have to have cul-de-sacs that a fire truck can turn around in.
Okay. And that was and again, it just depends on local jurisdiction. He has designed this T, the turning radius in the T, is something he said he uses it in a lot of communities. They'll allow him to use that T there is the turn radius there is one that fire trucks can turn around. If y'all were to require an actual cul-de-sac to turn around, we just tilt building 2 and put the cul-de-sac down at the end. It's a little less efficient, uses more asphalt, but it's not that big a deal.
Well, like I said, I don't know what these measurements are on these parking. It looks like it's quite a few parking spaces, but I mean, we can work that out. So
it's the parking, but I think the parking's. I sent him the ordinance, so I think your parking, whatever your parking space dimensions were, is what those are, and you can see the number of parking spaces. And I've got me a nice big one here so I can read, but I think your ordinance requires 104 spaces, and that's what we've got in the plan here. As you can see, I've got plenty of land. We've pushed these buildings to the north. There's one of the things I'm sensitive to. I've been involved in 37 apartment developments now over the past 20 years. And one of the things I am sensitive to are the neighbors around me. And that's one of the reasons that we like this site is I can, in 7.5 acres with 48 units, I can pull the buildings in, have plenty of space between me and the neighborhood. And there are 2 single-family homes on the southern end here, on the southwest side of the site there. And by pushing those buildings back, I'm out of their sight. I'm not, up against somebody. They're not looking down on apartment buildings where our light isn't shining in their windows. So another conscious effort just to make sure that we're trying to be good neighbors.
Well, anybody else have any questions?
Question for the planning commission. How are we going to classify this subdivision? There's 3 different classifications for subdivisions. There's an exempt classification and there's a minor residential classification and a major residential subdivision. It wouldn't be exempt, but it's kind of debatable whether it would be classified as a minor or a major.
I don't have my book in front of me.
No, that's a subdivision
now?
anywhere,
Yeah.
anywhere in our jurisdiction. It has to do with how much paperwork you have to provide and so forth. If somebody wants to read this, I can't hardly see because I had cataract surgery and it ruined my vision.
You want me to read it out loud, Mr. Bob?
Yeah, this is the minor one.
Okay. I'm going to read section 4, minor residential subdivisions. Section 4.1, a minor subdivision is any subdivision of land that does not, 1, create more than 6 lots for residential purposes, or number 2, require a right-of-way, street dedication, utility extensions, drainage improvements, or present any other engineering problems as determined by the city engineer. Or number 3, include a proposed site for a public facility. And then, do you want me to stick with the? Okay. Yeah.
This meets all of those requirements. What is exempt?
Exempt is a family division of property for a family.
Well, minor subdivisions shall be exempt from submitting construction plats, providing the developer has personally consulted or provided written notification to the planning commission of the proposed minor subdivision at least 14 days prior to submission of the proposed subdivision plat to the building official. Failure to consult with or to provide written notification shall be grounds for the planning commission to consider the initial submission as a construction plat for the proposed subdivision. The developer shall be responsible for complying with all procedures for submission and meeting all applicable requirements for a final submission plat when the proposed subdivision is submitted for review and approval.
Well, it's obviously it's 1 lot. There are no utilities, and the reason it's being cut off is this area has got the stream that runs through it, and it's a ravine, and we're cutting it off basically because of the wetlands. So nothing's ever going to be developed on it. It's basically green space. So. Now, obviously, that decision is up to y'all, but from what you've spelled out to me, it sounds like a minor subdivision.
Is there anything in major that would indicate it would need to fall in there, Marshall?
Shall include, but not necessarily be limited to, developments such as traditional subdivisions, residential condominium subdivisions, and manufactured home subdivisions. Major residential subdivisions shall be submitted for review and approval in accordance with the procedures set forth in these regulations for schematic plat construction plat, and final plat.
The only thing in the major I would think that it may compare to would be the condominiums,
Condominium.
because we don't really have either one of them specify as apartment complex.
And this is still one lot as opposed to condominiums being, you know, subdivided.
That's right.
Obviously, condominiums are, whether you're subdividing in the air or not, it's still subdivision, where this is lot
Others
one,
are
lot two.
gonna-
And I think it was 10 acres minus 7.47. So this undeveloped with the creek going, there's 2 point, whatever the difference is. My math is terrible. 2.3 roughly.
Well, that was one thing.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards the minimum as well.
yeah.
Well, it does. Obviously, require that.
Right. Yeah, the only other thing is that a minor subdivision does not require drainage improvements. I don't know if the detention area is considered a drainage improvement or not, but I think I don't know, it seems more like minor to me.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
If this is this supposed to be for senior living?
No, this is designed for family.
Oh, family. Okay. I was about to ask, I don't know how many people my age need a slide and all that.
That
As
would be a
much
fair
as I
question.
enjoy still sliding, I just don't know. That you answered my question.
If Tim, if we do annexation, what zoning is it going to be?
I believe it's gonna be R4.
It can be R4, it can be B1, B2. The R4 you can have on a arterial road, major arterial road, you can have 16 units per acre. And in the business district B1, you have to have over 5 units, but there's no limit to how many you can have. In the B2, you can have, it has to be at least 8, but no limit on how many. And there's no limits at all in the central business district. So obviously it would be either R4, B1 or B2, either one.
So it'd be an R4 or B2 sitting basically in the R1 area.
Right. I talked to the League of Municipalities about if that is a spot zoning. It is not a spot zoning. If it is annexed into the city, it is absorbed as it stands. So it would be a zone unto itself.
Okay.
And also the property to the north, even though it's R1, is not developed at all at this point either.
I guess that was my question, is if we approve and he does annexation, being that it's joining R1, does it have to go in as R1?
No.
Okay. All right. Any other questions then? All right. If not, all in favor for approval?
Aye.
Or show of hands or something. But all right. All against? All righty. And we decided to go with a minimum.
Minor.
I mean a minor, yeah.
Thank you.
And I will get with Tim. Like I said, if we can get some dimensions, we can figure fire flow, because that's going to be a little over Mexie's head. And tell you what, we're going to do hydrants and stuff.
I'll get all of that. And again, just so y'all will know, timeline wise, we're super early. I'm getting the basic information together. Then I go and apply for my financing
Wait, hold on 1 second.
30 days. And then I kind of sit around until June when I hear if I get all the financing. And then we go and get plans and engineering and everything done and close hopefully right around, mid to late December. So but I'll go ahead and get all the preliminary stuff because the sooner I get that together, the much easier. I've got building square footages, all the basic stuff I can get to you in the next day or so.
Okay. And I think going down 47 is an 8-inch water line. I believe is right. And
I've got it in a zone. I've got it in a letter. I've already been and checked, confirmed water and sewer and all that, and I've got it in a letter. I'll double check that, but I believe that's correct.
yeah, but we may end up having to loop the line to be able to get the available fire flow in there. So
Billy, I think we're supposed to have a public hearing. Just instructions for approval here, it says in step 8, the planning commission shall conduct a public hearing on the construction plat for the proposed subdivision prior to considering the plat for approval.
okay, so we'll have to have the public hearing. Well, I mean, we still approve to move forward, I guess, pending the public hearing then.
Move forward with a public hearing.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay, so when do we want to set that public hearing?
I would think, what's the requirements, Mary, that we have to advertise for a public hearing in 2 weeks? So
So we'd have to do like either a special call public hearing, because the next council meeting's
You
on
have to-
Tuesday, the
You have to
19th.
notify the adjoining property owner
Yeah.
Right,
by certified letter.
which we are prepared to do.
February 2nd is the next council meeting, and then February
1st should be our next.
Yeah, our planning commission one is the 1st, February
is
1st.
that over 2 weeks out?
Yeah,
We could set it for that date then. We got to advertise and you missed the paper this week.
well, we'd have the paper for the 21st and the 28th.
Okay.
What do you say?
So we can mail out immediately and put it in the next paper.
Yeah, it'll have to be in the paper twice. And if we set it for before or at our next meeting, which is scheduled February 1st, we should make that timeline, right?
Like 4:30 on February 1st?
I don't believe it says you have to have two.
I think we can just do it at 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
I have to check state law with that, but I don't think.
So the public hearing is for the minor subdivision require, the minor subdivision does it require a public hearing?
It doesn't say that it doesn't.
This is just for the site plan?
I think any subdivision except on.
I think it's for the site plan for approval of the apartment complex, but Bob's got the paperwork there. Let him
Okay.
read that.
I just would make sure I understand.
Yeah, I'm at home, so I had to get.
Make sure I come prepared.
It doesn't exempt from the public hearing.
Not from the public hearing.
Okay.
We're supposed to have a public hearing. But I don't know that we have to advertise twice. I'm pretty sure we don't. Just one week.
Okay, so we'll send out a public notice to the homeowners, adjacent property owners. We'll advertise in the paper once, and we have time to do that before the 1st. So we can have that meeting on the 1st at 5 o'clock.
Okay. And that, I'm assuming that will also be a Zoom meeting, most likely.
Are we able to do a public hearing in the council chamber with COVID restrictions?
Yes.
Okay.
What we can do is in the advertisement or in the letter to the property owners is just say, if you're interested in joining via Zoom, please contact Tim Vaught at your email address or phone number, and then we can send them the link like we did today, the Zoom link, and then we can admit them in, let them do their public comment, and move on from that.
I just want to make sure if it's going to be an in-person,
Oh, yeah.
make my travel plans and arrange to be there
You
February.
can do it via Zoom. I mean, if with all this COVID stuff, it'd probably be best to,
And Mitchell, following that meeting will be the zoning board of adjustments meeting that will approve the preliminary plan.
Okay. Got it. Super. The actual plat, I've got to get that read. And I'll take that up with you, Tim, later. I'm not going to keep everybody for that. Just if it has to be on vellum or if it's regular paper, that technical stuff, I'll make sure that I get it ready for you.
Bond paper.
And if it's lot and block or again, we'll take, I'll like I say, you and I'll get together on that.
Okay.
Anything else I can answer? I appreciate it. This has been.
I just apologize it took so long to get so many people, but
Trust me, in this time in COVID, I'm just grateful that, like I said, everybody is willing to take time out of their evenings on a Thursday evening after work to do this for me. So thank you very, very much. And I look forward to continuing to work with you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mitchell. Good to see you.
Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Take care.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Thanks.
all right. I guess we need a motion to adjourn the meeting then.
I make a motion.
Second, all in favor?
Uh,
All right. See y'all later.
Thanks, Billy. Good to see you.
Yeah, Billy.